Welcome back to The Draw, a Fair to Green podcast. And this week we had another duo of young winners on the LPGA and PGA Tour. We're going to start with the final major of the year on both the women's and men's side. The 2026 AIG Women's Open at Lytham St Annes in England. Shiho Kuwaki wins in a two-hole playoff, and it was a really good finish to the tournament. The course played a lot different. I think someone mentioned that early on in the week they were hitting three wood into the 16th hole, I think it was. And this on Sunday during the final round, they had like 9 iron and 8 iron. So Kawaki getting her first major win, her first win on the LPGA Tour. She's a three-time or four-time winner over on the Japan LPGA Tour. And she, not going to say it's the greatest up and down ever in major championship history, but the up and down she made on the first playoff hole from, I think it was 186, she chops out, hits a wedge to a foot or two and makes par. And Esther Henseleit, her playing competitor, makes par two. I mean, that saved her tournament because I saw that lie and I'm like, oh, the tournament's done. But she came back and played an excellent second playoff hole. But man, it was a really cool finish towards the end of that tournament.
Yeah, it was a cool tournament. After the first two rounds, it appeared hair on you. She was going to win her third major in a row, which would have been pretty crazy for her to win the third major of the year of Nelly Korda and hair on you. Still kind of is, but yeah, after the first three holes on Saturday, her tournament just went very poorly. She shot, I think, five over after she birdied a couple holes on Saturday, and then similar story on Sunday. She shot two over. It kind of took her out of the tournament. Like she had a chance on Sunday, but unfortunately didn't have her best stuff. But then Kawaki, she played very well. I know if you saw her on TV, you could not miss her. She was wearing on Saturday, she was wearing neon green pants, and then Sunday she was wearing a really bold green shirt with like a striped pant, a big line, a stripe on her pants. So and the yellow ball too. She's got the
Yeah,
whole
the yellow ball.
colorful. She got the colorful coordination going on, which I actually love. I love when players do something different than just like basic, boring Nike clothes, although those are still cool. But I like the little style. But yeah, it was nice to see a new winner. She is, I think, a five-time winner on the JLPGA, and she's won twice this season. So she has been playing very well. I think she's only 22, so she can choose to, accept immediate membership on the LPGA Tour. So the rest of the season she'll play out here, or she can just defer and start next season on the LPGA Tour, which I think most likely that's what she will be doing because unless she needs lots of money now, I think she'll just hang out there on the JLPGA and then come over because she did win $1.5 million. So I don't think she's too much in a hurry to head over to the LPGA Tour. But another good week, last major of the season, and it's good to see a new winner, although I do like Nelly Korda and Hair on You.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Esther Henseleit, who finished second. She was in the lead. She makes a bad bogey. I think it was on the 16th hole and makes a par in 17. She needs a birdie, and she made a 40-foot birdie putt on 18 to force a playoff. And I mean, she had like 120 yards in, if I remember right, and she just an okay wedge to 40 feet and just center cut. Her hand goes up halfway to the hole, and I'm like, is this in? And I'm like, oh wow, it was on a perfect line, great read. She did everything right on the first playoff hole. She gave herself, I think it was like 10, 12 feet for birdie and missed it. And again, Kawaki made a really good up and down, like I mentioned before. The unfortunate part was her ball, her tee shot on the second playoff hole. It looked like it was clearing. I think it hit the volunteer and went into like the course bush. Yeah, they've showed replays like it hits something and bounces almost sideways or backwards. So she got a really bad break. She did get it up there to the 8 to 10 feet and missed that par putt and made a bogey, and Kawaki wins with a par. But I mean, it's her best finish of her career in a major. It propelled her onto the Solheim Cup team, which we'll talk about here in a couple minutes. That would have been a really cool story too. If I mean, still cool story, Kawaki winning, but again, Henseleit winning, that would have been a good story. Halimi No started the final round with I think it was a four-shot lead, and just I think she shot four over to finish solo third. A disappointing finish, but still her best finish of this season. So she said afterwards, she's was like, "Can I do this anymore? Am I good enough?" And she finishes third, and she goes, "This week's kind of rejuvenated me, so that's cool." Nelly Korda, Gino Titakun, T4. We'll start with Gino because it's another year, and it's another year of no majors for Gino. She led after the first round, played excellent, and then just was kind of disappointing the rest of the week. And she's going to have to go through another rest of the year and off season of when is this going to happen? I mean, she's in the same boat as, right, like Patrick King and Tommy Fleetwood is probably a better comparison for Gino than Patrick Cantlay is. But again, and she still was in striking distance with like a couple holes to play, only two back. She was at 2 under and just didn't get anything going. And it's just like, all right, like when is it going to happen for Gino? I don't know. Nelly was great other than, I mean, she had two good rounds, two bad. She goes 73-68, 73-68. So again, to finish 3 shots back and she shot 73 2 days, she probably's kicking herself at like she could have been a 3-time major champion this season. I mean, still a couple stats for Nelly. She has 4 top 10 finishes in majors this year. She's the first person to do that in over a decade. She earned more money in major championships than all but 2 male golfers. I'm assuming that those male golfers are probably Scotty Scheffler and someone else. So still a fantastic major season for Nelly. 2 wins, 2 other top 10s. But I think it's like, what is it about Gino in these majors? It like, I don't know. She played great and then just can't follow it up with good rounds. She shoots 64 and goes 73, 72, 73. I mean, that's one of the stories I feel like we have to talk about coming out of this major season.
Absolutely. She's going to be kicking herself. I think this week was her best chance to win a major of the entire year. I know she was pretty close to one of the earlier majors of the season, but this one was the one for her to win. She was winning after the first round. It seemed like, not everyone, not the big names weren't quite up there. I know Hair on You was up there a little bit, but Gino was up there. She was in first place after the first round. She was in prime position, and then she just kind of let it go. She squandered it. And yeah, Hair on You was winning by quite a bit, early Saturday and, late Friday, but she gave that away. All the chances were there for Gino. Even going into the final round, Gino had all the chances. She was at 4 under, and Shiho Kuwaki and Esther Henseleit were also at 4 under par. So those two made a charge while Gino did the opposite. So Gino had all the chances to get up there and win her first major, and it's just very disappointing. She has, I think, 7 top 10s in majors in her career without a win. And for someone with the level of play we've seen, she's won the last 2 CME Tour championships at the end of the year. All the big tournament with all the money. She's won that the last 2 years. I think she has, a handful, maybe 5 other LPGA Tour wins. So she is very capable of winning these tournaments and I guess bigger tournaments with the Tour Championship, but she just can't win a major. So as you mentioned, it's another year, another offseason of just, what could have been for Gino. And you got to think it's got to happen at some point. I still believe it's happening at some point because she's still like fairly young, but I'm a little disappointed, but it has to happen at some point. She's too good for it to not happen.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. It's not of if, it's a when. It's like with Rory, it's like, when is he going to win another major? It wasn't going to be an if. He's Rory McIlroy. Phil Mickelson took a long time. Dustin Johnson took a long time. But then you see these other players like Colin Morikawa. He wins 2 very quickly. I mean, even for Xander Schauffele, it took a while, but then he picks off 2 in a year. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe she wins 1 and then she has that freedom and she wins multiple like Nelly did this year. So yeah, I don't really know what it is because I still thought coming down the stretch, the final 9 holes, I thought Gino was like, yeah, you're 2 back of a couple players on this leaderboard that have never been in this position. You're the second best player in the world. You should be able to chase them down. And she was fine. I don't know. Her ball striking was okay. And again, it was a difficult course. It was playing really tough, really dry. If you got in some of these bunkers, they were deadly. I think they said they had like 160 bunkers on this course this week, which is wild. And then they followed it up. There used to be 300 and they eliminated half of them. So I thought it was a really cool course. I'd love to see more Open Championships, both men's and women's, on this course. I think the last time a men's held it was maybe 2012, or I don't remember. Ernie Els won. I don't remember the year. So I thought it was a really cool tournament. I thought the course played really well. Yeah, but Gino, we'll see. Again, she's won big tournaments. She just hasn't won whatever and wants her to win in a major. So it'll be interesting to see, but still a really good end to the major tournament. Another young winner on the LPGA Tour, which is almost normal on that tour. What's not normal is the PGA Tour having young winners. It's been kind of, I'm not going to say an old man's game, but old man winners. For the last 2 weeks, you have Jackson Koivun, 21, who wins the 3M Open. And this week, you had Michael Thorbjornsen, 24 years old, win the Rocket Classic by 2 strokes. And it's the first time in PGA Tour this season that 2 winners under 24 years old have won back-to-back tournaments. So I think you're starting to see the shift. You saw Tom Kim pick up his fourth career win a couple of weeks ago. He's still only 24, which is wild to believe. So you got a trend of younger winners lately, which kind of happens towards this part of the season. The older veterans aren't playing as much. But Thorbjornsen, he shoots a final round 63 to capture his first tournament. And I think this is a guy that, like you mentioned with Gino, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And he was the number one player on PGA Tour U in 2024. He was a standout at Stanford. He had all the tools. In his last start as an amateur, I think he was in the Travelers Championship and he finished like fourth against a field that has a really good field. So really good for Thorbjornsen. And I'm going to go on the record and say put him on the President's Cup team with Koivun. I'm all for the young guns being there in Medina in 2 months.
Yeah, I know back in January when we did our beginning this year predictions, you had Michael Thorbjornsen being your kind of breakout star. And we saw it early in the year at the Amex where he was in the final group with Scotty Scheffler, and he didn't get it done. Obviously, going against Scotty Scheffler, a very hard thing to do. Many people don't win. Most people do not win those, but it was a good experience for him. And all year it was, when is Michael Thorbjornsen going to win? Because he has been playing that well, and he finally got it done here. And it was a matter of when. And he is so good. And I will talk about the President's Cup team. I second this. I think that we should bring all of the young guys, because I think that I hate a little bit. I know more than most people, in fact, but I think that we don't need to take people like Xander Schauffele, because we know what they're gonna do, and I don't know who what they are right now. I think the auto qualifiers, I think like Ben Griffin is gonna qualify. I actually kind of like Ben Griffin, but
Like
I
Wyndham
forget
Clark, like
yeah, well,
Wyndham Clark is one.
it
Yeah.
could be me over I would say I would put myself over Wyndham Clark, and that's just personal, not golf talent ability. But I'm all in favor of bringing Jackson Koivun and Michael Thorbjornsen to Medina, because they're young and we've seen what they can do in just their short time on the PGA Tour. They both have wins in their first season. Jackson Koivun in 4 or 5 starts this year. So
Yeah.
so it's ridiculous what these guys can do. And I think if we need to compete with the Europeans, because we've seen what they can do in the last 2 Ryder Cups, they kind of kicked our butts the last 2 Ryder Cups. So it'd be nice to have some new faces and young guys who can really bring it and change things up a little bit, because we've seen what the Americans can do. Scotty Scheffler can't win the Ryder Cup for you. It's a team event. They have the young guys. They have the chemistry. They do everything right over there. And we're lacking something. So maybe these new guys can figure it out here at the President's Cup and then bring it over to the Ryder Cup, which we care a little bit more about.
Yeah, I think the President's Cup, and this isn't a reason to do it, but the President's Cup is usually lacking some juice because it's not the Ryder Cup. If you want to energize get some people excited, like you bring some of these young guys. Like I think Chris Gotterup, I'm looking at the rank, he's 7th. He's got to go. He's got to be on the team. Like that's like, if he's not, then what are we doing here? Now you get down to the lower, like Xander's number 9. He moved up because of his second place finish. Wyndham Clark's 10. JT's 11th. Bridgman's 12. Like I like Jacob Bridgman. He's a good player. Does he have a future with the Ryder Cup team? Probably not. Whereas Thorbjornsen and Koivun, 24, 21 years old, they probably do. They've competed on junior Ryder Cup teams and all that, and they're the young All-American standout and PGA Tour U graduates. Like I think it's time for the U.S. to get the youth in and just insulate them with the JT, the Scotty, the Cameron Young, the Sam Burns, the Ben Griffins. Like let them play, let them do good. And then, we may see it. I don't think this really ever happens, but like Colin Moore College just had his first child. Does he want to go play there in 2 months? Like, is he like, no, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to play with my child. Sam Burns having his second kid. Does that open more spots up? Maybe. Again, this is me guessing. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't see many people pull out of contention for these teams because they want to be on them. But again, I think Michael Thorbjornsen he was in the final pairing with Oberg. Now they both played terribly at the Players Championship in that final pairing, and Cam Young ends up winning. But he's been in final groups. He finished 3rd at the Phoenix Open, I think 7th at the Amex, like you mentioned. It's just like, why not? What's the worst that can happen? You don't have to play him all the time. You play him here and there. You play him 2 or 3 matches, and that's it. At least he's used to the format. But I don't know. I will say this golf course looked a lot better after this renovation they did, and it stinks that they're not going back because it definitely played a lot different. I mean, Thorbjornsen did set the tournament scoring record, so I don't know how much it helped with the scoring, but I thought it played a little harder. I thought it was a little more fun to watch, at least.
They could make it a
Xander,
lot more
best finish of
difficult.
the
It's an August event. They'll make it soft and they won't
yeah,
cut the grass as long. But yeah, that's what they want to
yeah.
see.
I know you picked Hideki last week. He T5, another top 10 finish or back-to-back top 5 finishes at events. So good pick by you. You know, the talk this week is it's the final week of the season at the Wyndham Championship. So you have the bubble. You want to be in the top 70 in the FedEx Cup points. There are some interesting names at kind of that 70 to 80 range. I mean, we talked about Koivun. He's number 70 right now. He needs to at least make the cut and probably a top 30 finish to like secure that spot or if not move up. There are some interesting names that are close. Like Brooks Koepka is 86. He needs, I think it's a two-way tie for third or better, or two-way tie for fourth or better to play in the playoff event. It's been a disappointing summer for him. I know he's withdrawn, he's missed the cut and all that. And you and I are both on the record like we thought he was going to win,
Oh
and he just hasn't. He hasn't played his best golf. He finished T29 at the Open Championship. I think his best finish, if I remember, is like a T13, which is just okay for Brooks Koepka. Keegan Bradley, Jason Day, former major winners. They're 72 and 75th on the ranking, so they need good weeks. Tony Finau, he's made the FedExCup playoffs in all 11 seasons of his career. He's at 89th. He needs like a solo third to keep it up. So it's always an interesting storyline. You get some good winners. You have Cameron Young coming off his first career win last year here, where he won by 6. It just was, I think he made the turn, if I remember right, and he had an 8-stroke lead. It's like, all right, can we just end the tournament now? So Tom Kim's won here in the past. Lucas Glover, Aaron Rai, you know, I'm all for Aaron Rai. I think he's great. He's be on the European Ryder Cup here and next year. Not someone I want to play against, but a good player. It's going to be a good tournament, and there's a lot more pressure on this event than a normal PGA Tour event.
Yeah, you know, the weeks come down. It's the last week before the FedExCup playoffs, and it always brings good moments. There's guys who are grinding to get inside that top 70, you know, making cuts shot by shot, and they have the tracker going on, and it's very entertaining to watch this on a Friday afternoon when the cut's coming down and guys need that, and then also on Sunday when it's like, you know, a 30th place could mean a lot more than 31st, things like that. Like not even like, you know, winning the tournament, you know, each place matters for all these guys. And there's one guy I do want to talk about a little bit who is outside the cut, and that is Tony Finau. I know Tony Finau. We've seen how he's played. He played on the Ryder Cup team in Whistling Straits, I believe, that that won the last time they beat the Europeans. Yeah. So Tony Finau has had some very good golf in his career, and he has not had his stuff this year. And he's kind of having a Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler signature event inflation going on, because he has not played well this season by any means, and he's getting into these signature events, and they're with the no cuts, and he's getting these points, but there's not really deserved, I would say. So if Tony Finau gets into the playoffs, like at this point, this 1 week speaking, yes, he deserves it because he's in 89th place, and he certainly played well enough to get into the playoffs with a top solo third or better. But at this point right now, I think this is the problem with we talked about this last year when Ricky Fowler was one of the last guys in because of the signature events. And if this happens again this year, this will be another point to talk about. I'm just kind of speculating right now what could happen, but I'm happy that this signature event thing is going away very soon, and we won't have this conversation anymore. But once again, it's going to be very exciting to watch. I hate to, kind of hate on Tony Finau because he is a really nice guy, and I do like Tony Finau a lot. But it's simple, no hate on Tony Finau, just to clarify.
I think I agree with you though. Like you do see, like again, we mentioned with Spieth and Ricky this year, and Finau like hasn't taken advantage of it like they did. Obviously, he's ranked 89th, so they were much further. They played better in there, but he's one of the guys that always relied on his speed and distance, and kind of the rest of the PG Tour's caught up. He's always been in a bad putter, I'll say, and like he wins when he has a good putting week. So that hasn't been there as much, but it'll be nice to not have to deal with that once we get to 2028 and full field events and none of that and all that stuff. Now, it's a pretty good field for the last week. I mean, you have Cameron Young, Justin Thomas, Hideki's playing his 4th week in a row, which is absolutely wild heading into the playoffs, but he's on a heater. He's 2 back-to-back top 5, so I understand why he's playing because he's playing really well. You got Ben Griffin, Jackson Koivun, who finished T5 last year as an amateur, who needs, again, like I said, probably like a top 30 finish to keep that 70th spot on the FedEx Cup so he can get into the playoffs. It's I almost went with your pick from last week with Hideki because he's playing so great and he makes tons of birdies. And at a Donald Ross course, you have to be accurate with your tees and tee shots and irons, and that's Hideki. And except his driver hasn't been great this year, so that's where the hesitancy came from. I'm gonna go with a North Carolina native. You mentioned him, Ben Griffin. He went to the University of Chapel Hill. He's played this event 4 times. In those 3 of the times he's made the cut, he's gone fourth, T7, T11. He's played really well at this course. He hasn't really played as well as he did last year. Last year he won 3 PGA Tour events. This year he's not, doesn't have any, but he's still 30, I think, in the FedExCup rankings. So a good year. Not the year he was probably looking for, but I'm gonna go with Ben Griffin in his hometown state to get his first win of the year.
Yeah, I was thinking about picking Hideki again because he is probably the best player in this field, maybe Cameron Young, but he is certainly in form, and it'd be hard to pick against Hideki this week without, with guys like Scotty Scheffler, Matt Fitzpatrick, or Rory in the field. But I'm actually going to go with a guy who a couple weeks ago I was very skeptical, and I'm now a believer, and he's also younger than me, but I'm going to go with Jackson Koivun. I think that not only will he get that top 30, he will win his second PGA Tour event in 3 weeks, which is a very bold claim, but he is certainly talented enough to do it. He is so good at golf, and I think he's going to show everyone what he can do with the last event in the regular season.
If he goes out and wins, it's just like Brant Snedeker better get all of his sizings for the uniforms because he needs to be on that team. And that would be a crazy story. But he finished T5 last year, like I mentioned. So it's not that crazy of a thing. It's a Donald Ross course, so you got to be a really good putter. That's probably his best attribute of his game is his putting in a short game. So I would not be crazy at all to see him win. But yeah, so that's the only event this week. No LPGA Tour event, no DP World Tour. But on the women's side of golf, we did have the European team announce their Solheim Cup team. They finalized it right after the AIG Women's Open. They had 4 captains picks and 8 automatic qualifiers. So I'm going to go with the 4 captains picks. They went with 3 rookies and a veteran, and I love it. I absolutely love bringing in the young golfers into these types of events. So you have Julia Lopez Ramirez, Frances Natasha Nadeau, England's Mimi Rhodes, all rookies, all getting their first taste at team event golf. It's the second week in September down in the Netherlands. They're going to join Leona Maguire as the other captain's pick on this team. And then you have, veterans on this team as well. You have Charlie Hall, Maja Stark, Lynn Grant, Celine Boutier, all veterans on this team. Lottie Woad, who's going to be in there as well. You have Esther Henseleit, who just finished second. I think it's going to be a really interesting event. The U.S. team hasn't announced their teams yet. They will not do that till in about a month or so. There are 3 automatic qualifiers for the U.S. team. Nelly Korda, who's been qualified for I feel like. Angel Yin and Jennifer Kupcho did get their solid spots, or they're solidified their spots after their performances at the AIG Women's Open. So there's 9 more golfers to be chosen. The captain for the U.S. team, they have 3 captains picks, not 4. I don't understand why it's different. I don't get why each team doesn't have the same amount of captains pick, but whatever. They do their point qualification systems different just based on the different tours they play. So that's exciting. It's going to be a good event. Again, 2 team events this year, always fun. And now we'll watch that, and then we'll get to the President's Cup on the men's side later. But we've said it just this episode, we want the younger guys on those teams. So Europe bringing 3 rookies, I love that choice by their captain.
Yeah, the European Solheim Cup team is pretty scary from a U.S. perspective, honestly. You have the big names. You've got Charlie Hall. You've got Lottie Woad. You've got those big names. And then you have the rookies who are uber talented. We've seen what they can do. Mimi Rhodes won 2 or 3 times in the European Tour. It's her rookie season on the LPGA Tour this season. And she is very good. And I don't know, she hasn't had the season she might be expecting, but she is very good. And you've got major winners, all that in the European team. And you look at the U.S. team, the standings right now, and you have Nelly Korda, obviously the scariest player in women's golf, or even the world, not even just women's golf, just in the world right now. And then you've got you got some other players, Jennifer Kupcho, but no one really like the big names, almost like, no offense, but no one like the Charlie Hall or the Lottie Woad on the European team. That the U.S. just has Nelly Korda, and it'll be interesting to see who they pick for and who auto qualifies for the U.S. team. But this U.S. team won, 2 years ago at RTJ over the the European team. So who knows what'll happen this year? And with the team that Europe has this year, it's looking pretty like a pretty tall task, especially when they were playing in Europe in the Netherlands this year. So it'll be a very exciting month to see who's going to be on the team, who's not going to be on the team, what other names do we know, things like that. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I love the team golf and alternate shot and best ball and all that. Little quick thing as we wrap up. On the PGA Tour, Century Insurance has become a title sponsor for the event at Torrey Pines. So in 2027, it's just going to be a full field regular event. In 2028, when they switch the kind of the two-tier system, it will be one of the championship series events. So, the Century used to be played in Hawaii. They're not playing there anymore. The Farmers Insurance kind of dropped their sponsorship of a PGA Tour event, so Century took it. And it'll be probably one of the first events on the season next year and in 2028 as well. And then Live, there was some news that came out just recently today, and I know there was a players meeting at Trump Bedminster where Live is playing, that they're pretty much going bankrupt and they're going to file for bankruptcy soon. And I think the most wild thing is that a lot of these golfers were paid up front and then they get like quarterly salaries is what I'm reading. The big one is John Rahm, who signed for, I don't remember the amount of, it was like rumored 300 million. He still owed $150 million. I don't know what happens. I'm not a financial person. I don't know how he gets paid if they file for bankruptcy and they fold, but there are rumors that regular season finale tournament isn't going to be played. There's also a rumor that one of their other tournaments remaining play is going to be moved to a different. So for all intents and purposes, I don't want to say Live is dead because it's not dead until it's dead, but it's not going great over there. And I know the players meeting only is happening today, so we'll probably find out more later in this week from that meeting. So we can talk about it more next week. But yeah, I don't know how Rahm gets that 150 million back in his pocket if they do fold. And again, it's the decisions these guys made. So I don't want to say, I don't feel bad for them. Maybe I'm a bad person for saying that, but like, you made the choice. You knew what could happen. Sorry, you made $150 million. So if you really need that $150 million extra, like you should have done a better job with your contract. I don't know, but that's kind of the big news with the Live right now.
Yeah, I think Live, I know we've been speculating on this for weeks and months now, and with everything coming out, there's two things I want to talk about. The first is Live not the rumors of Live not paying their players. You are the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund. You print money every single day. There is a gold mine under your country. I don't know how you don't have the money to pay the players when you are actually living on infinite money. So that's number one. I don't know how that happens. That's inexcusable from a business perspective and just running the golf thing who wanted to rival the PGA Tour and you can't pay your players. So that's ridiculous, number one. And then number two is the players only meeting. Saying that I like to follow along in sports is when you have a players only meeting in the locker room, it's over. Your season's already done. So whenever you see that from like a team like the Mets, sorry, I'll throw out the Mets, but Mets fans will actually agree with me on this one. They stink. But like if the Mets players only meeting, season's already done. So with Liv calling a players only meeting, I just have to say by my rule that I follow is that their season is done and Liv is done. I'm gonna even go that far. So, well, this is another one. I say this all the time, but we are gonna have to wait and see for Liv, the players only meeting, what's gonna happen because I don't think it looks great. It doesn't look good for Liv. They have so much money, and there should be no reason for this league to end because of money. But with all this going on, with all the drama it's causing, I think the writing is on the wall for Liv, and it's only a matter of time before they just cut it off.
Yeah, again, go check us out on fairgreen.com and our Instagram, Fair to Green, and tune in to see what else we have for next week and enjoy the regular season finale on the PGA Tour this week.